Hey guys. Not live. I see myself. Hey guys. Hey guys, nice to be here. My name is Vladimir. That's Sasha, CEO of Waves. So, or you're not CEO?
I'm founder. You can be a CEO of a decentralized platform. So let's just make sure that everybody understands that. So I'm the founder, not CEO.
And I'm a developer. So guys, today we will start by asking some questions to Sasha. Then we will read the chat in YouTube and maybe discuss on some interesting topics. So let's start. Sasha, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. A lot of things are happening, as you know. And that's why I've actually decided to change how we do the AMAs. I think let's make them like more fun. And today I'm happy to do this AMA with Vladimir. I think you know him. He has a lot of projects on Waves, and maybe he'll mention some of his projects. And let's see how it goes. I think it's going to be more fun. And otherwise, I'm doing fine. Lots of things to do because, as you know, crypto is having some issues, but I think everything's going to be fine. So sometimes people think that I'm like being negative, but I'm very positive, guys. You know, so I just describe what I see. If I see some like bullshit, I say, yeah, this is bullshit. You know, that's it. But I'm very positive. We are here, you know, to change our lives and make our future better. So everything's going to be fine. And I'm very, very positive, guys.
Yeah, but everything is falling. I mean, a regular investor.
Sure, yeah. Okay. So you have to understand that maybe it's more than about some just kind of like short-term profits. It's about the future. Now, crypto is about the future. At least this is the promise of crypto. You know, so it's not about like making some short-term profits, obviously. That's the idea. You know, when Bitcoin emerged, you know, so. And when blockchain technology emerged, it's about like changing the world, changing the ways the society operates, changing the fabric of society. So it's about changing the way we live. You know, it's not about like making profits off of some shit coins. You know, so this is not what crypto is about. Crypto is about making our lives better, like in general, you know, for everybody. You know, so and we need to always remember that. Otherwise, you know, we won't be happy, and we will always be negative because, you know, volatility, something's falling, you know, you lose some like money, but it doesn't matter in the long term. What matters is what's going to be with crypto in like 5 or 10 years. And if everything is good, I think crypto will be very important, and we will actually understand, you know, why we have to suffer so much, you know, because the end result will be great, in my opinion.
Yeah, but how do you think, how do current conditions help crypto long-term wise?
Yeah, the problem with crypto now is we have too much centralization in crypto, you know, and after the situation with Alameda and FTX, I think more people will understand that. Important actors in crypto community will understand that probably the situation when centralized exchanges and trading firms control crypto is very bad because they are very centralized. You know, they're like 100% centralized. All the decisions, obviously, in Alameda was like they were made by one person. You know, so it's like peak centralization, guys. You know, so it can be more centralized. This is a problem here. So, and now people understand that this is not the way to proceed because crypto is decentralized. So basically you are trying to deal with something that is decentralized in a centralized way. Now, I've always been like saying that to community, to everybody, guys, it's unsustainable because if crypto is decentralized, probably the infrastructure has to be decentralized as well. So I don't think that those like centralized exchanges will disappear tomorrow. No, it's not going to happen. But eventually they will disappear and they will be replaced by decentralized entities. And also centralized exchanges will have to adapt. They will have to become more transparent, more decentralized. Maybe they could become some kind of DAOs where the community decides, for example, which tokens should be listed, or decides what the trading fees should be, or what should be done with the profits of a given exchange. So they can still have like centralized trading, but as like entities, they can become decentralized. I think that would be a way forward for them. So, and why the situation is good actually, because people now understand that we need change, that crypto, took some wrong path, and now it's time to get back on the right track now. So I think it's good. What doesn't kill us make us stronger, and it definitely won't kill us, and it won't kill anybody, I hope. So I understand that a lot of people have their money stuck on FTX. Maybe there's going to be some kind of bailout, because I think they are very well connected, as far as I understand. So probably someone is going to bail them out, and hopefully nobody will lose money. And the only fallout of the situation will be like the new understanding of the new direction of crypto. So let's hope it will be like that. So the current situation is bad short term, but probably it is good long term.
So it's pretty probable that this situation will bring more attention to products like Waves Exchange, Uniswap, etc.
Sure, yeah. So people understand that actually, as I said, infrastructure has to be decentralized. You can't deal with decentralized entities in a centralized way. It's like illogical. And there's going to be probably regulators will actually try to regulate this market harder, but at the same time, decentralized infrastructure is very hard to to ban, and I think that we'll see more of it. And I don't mean some kind of things like Tornado Cash, for example, like privacy, decentralized applications. So I don't think they're very important. What I mean is decentralized exchanges, DeFi, so those things. They are very hard to ban, to cancel. So they're gonna actually move forward, irrespective of what the regulators will try to do with centralized entities. So yeah, so this is good actually what is happening, as I said, because this is some kind of fresh start for crypto. And in my opinion, last 2 years were very bad for crypto because a lot of things changed. I understand that some people made a lot of money, but when I saw the market at the end of 2020, it was like a huge December pump. When, for example, Binance went from BNB went from $5 to $600, in 2 months. I saw that something was really wrong, and it had to end. And this is ending now. Basically, we see the result of this 2-year-long manipulation, So and actually, it was pretty much clear to me, at least, So that something changed in crypto, and it couldn't end well. So this is something that had to happen. We'll live through it. It will be over, and we'll move on with new experience, new knowledge, and new vision.
Sounds bullish for Waves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's talk about maybe Waves DeFi, its future. I read a very interesting thought from you about future of USDN, that it will be people's money.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you are going to create a treasury, which is governed by DAO. Could you give more details about it?
Yeah, so the idea, so we actually, as you know, we've been having some issues with USDN because of all those attacks and waves. But it's good, it's USDN is battle tested, and we understand in which direction it should go. So we can see that, it's really hard to create an algorithmic stable coin, which can be like adjustable to all possible market conditions, because you can't really predict what's going to happen tomorrow, so it's pretty hard to come up with one algorithm that accounts for all different scenarios. So it would be good to create some kind of like a decentralized central bank where members, like DAO members, could actually tweak the algorithm along the way. So if the market conditions change, the algorithm is tweaked. It is like adjusted to the current situation better. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to combine this idea of like algorithmic stablecoin with the idea of a backed stablecoin like Tether or USDC, which they were pretty successful actually. I must say, there is some attempts to depeg them as well, but they do have like funds in the bank, and they're able to make sure that the bank holds. And actually, their business model is pretty interesting. Actually, for example, what Tether has been doing, probably I'm not like 100% sure, but it's pretty obvious, and probably you agree with me that what they were doing, they were issuing Tether, they were buying like Bitcoin and other crypto, and actually the value of those coins grew actually, and the value of their treasury increased as well, basically. So they had more funds in their treasury as time passed. So this is it basically. So they just increased the value of their treasury by buying up crypto off of the market. And yeah, the same idea can be applied for algorithmic stablecoins. For example, if you are a USDN holder, you can vote what happens to the treasury. For example, if the treasury value increases a certain amount, or there is some proportion of the treasury value, the ratio of the value of the treasury to the market capitalization of USDN is like above 2, for example. Yeah, so there is like two times as much funds in the treasury as the market capitalization of USDN is. The community can decide what to do with the excess funds, actually, and they can just distribute it to themselves, basically, paying themselves a dividend, paying themselves some profits, because in this case, the treasury value remains sufficient to back the coin, but at the same time, there is some excess funds that can be spent on community rewards. So this is the idea. And if you are a USDN holder, you become some kind of a decentralized central banker, because you can decide on how USDN is backed, what happens to its backing, to its treasury, and you somehow can benefit from the increasing value of the treasury. So you hold a stable coin, so which costs $1, but at the same time you have some upside. So potentially you can make more money just by holding a stable asset. I think it's a pretty interesting idea. So on one hand, you hold a stable coin that doesn't change its value, but on the other hand, you have some potential profits that you could make with holding some kind of a volatile asset. And probably this idea is new actually. So it's pretty interesting. And actually it will involve and will engage the community, because usually people just hold some stable coin and they use it to trade, or they deposit it in some liquidity pools, but they don't participate in governance. But in this situation, we want to engage the community and to make sure that this currency becomes their own money, not in terms of they possess it, but they do that as well, but they control it, so they can decide what happens to it. They can decide what's going to happen to it in future. they can decide on the parameters, on the treasury distribution. So it becomes like some kind of like people's money or communities money, and not in terms of like ownership, but in terms of control, because we don't control the money we use. You control only your funds in the bank. Also, different things can happen to your money in the bank. The bank can go bankrupt and you lose your money, for example, but we don't control the monetary system itself. And here the idea is to create a monetary system which is controlled by its users. So that's what we are gonna try to do. And I think it's gonna help USDN as well, because we are trying to resolve the issues it's facing. There is not enough collateral, as you know, but actually, I think it's going to be okay. And I think it's a good moment for us to come up with some new ideas that could help us resolve the current situation. But at the same time, these ideas can be very practical, they can be implemented and they can change our approach to money. So we have to innovate always, even if we are facing some problems. Maybe it's a good moment to innovate, to come up with something innovative that could help us resolve the current problems, but at the same time can show the way for us to move forward. So that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah, so probably the next big step for USDN will be to add multi-collateral or something like this.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Actually, the community will be able to vote what assets should be in USDN treasury, and if the community decide that, for example, that Bitcoin is like cheap now and it has a good upside potential, we can actually add Bitcoin to USDN treasury.
Are you not worried that some Bitcoin whale will come and issue a lot of USDN and manipulate the system?
Yeah, it's a problem as well. So there is like an approach to this basically. So probably the community will decide not to allow issuance of new USDN for Bitcoin, but it will decide to buy some Bitcoin with USDN. So on ways you can create such a setup when there is a market making account, multi-signature account, and there is, for example, a trading bot that actually trades from that account, and the community can actually decide that that bot should be buying Bitcoin, for example, and the Bitcoin will become a part of the treasury. But Bitcoin should be bought with USDN. So first you issue USDN with waves, and then you buy Bitcoin with USDN. So in this way, there is some control over the USDN supply. So we don't need too much USDN, because obviously, as you can see, USDN is depacked now after this week's events. And basically, there is not enough demand for USDN currently. So we have to be really careful with increasing USDN supply, because the more USDN is there in the free float, basically the less demand there is, So we don't need to create tons of new USDN. We need to make sure that there is some kind of demand for USDN, and we will try to create the demand by turning USDN into an asset that is controlled by its users. So users, as I said, as I explained, but I will repeat it again, the users will be able to decide what happens to USDN and what happens to its backing. So for example, if its backing becomes really big, if it exceeds the value of market capitalization by a factor of 2, for example, the community can decide to basically pay itself the dividend, just spend 20% of the treasury on rewards to themselves, which is a nice idea actually, because the community will help USDN grow, and basically the idea is not to create some kind of a passive investment opportunity, but to engage the community to use this currency. And through the usage, through the fact that it's like circulated and used to pay for or like to participate in different ways-based DeFi projects, to trade on ways of change, maybe something else, to participate in DAOs. The value of USDN grows, not through some kind of like speculation, but through usage. So, and if community uses USDN like a lot, if there's like enough utility to use DM, in this case, the community should be rewarded because basically they use this asset and they make it valuable. So in this case, they can just pay some dividends to themselves basically because they deserve it. This is it. So it's not that it's some kind of like a passive income. Now the community has to be engaged to get some profits. If the community is not engaged, there is not going to be any profits because the profits will come not through speculation, but through usage, through utility. And I think it's a new idea in crypto, guys. So maybe people don't really understand that was probably the initial idea of all crypto projects to create something that people use. And if people use it, like if there is some utility, the value of the token goes up, not because of speculation, not because of some kind of expectations as it happens, for example, on the stock market, when basically there is no utility to stocks, as you understand, you just maybe dividends, that's it. But crypto tokens are different. There is utility to them, they are used for something. You can't do anything with a Google share or with like a Meta share or Tesla share. You can just sell it, maybe receive dividend. But it's not like that in crypto because there is utility to the tokens. So the value of crypto tokens should grow if there is like more utility. The more utility there is, the higher the value is. And this is the idea here. If people use USDN, treasury value grows, and it can become large enough for the community to distribute it to themselves, basically. So that's the idea.
Yeah, the idea is clear. What do you think about reserve currency in this perspective? Because basically, reserve currencies have the same idea. You hold something quasi-stable, which is almost stable, and gives some rights to, for example, to vote and to get some additional rewards. Do you think, is it possible that in the long-term future, let's say in 20 years, stable coins will be replaced by reserve currencies, such as, I don't know, Olympus or Pluto?
Yeah, it's reserve currencies are very interesting as well. So maybe we need to define what they are. There are like some assets with predictable price behavior, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's not like stable coins, because for stable coins, the prediction is that they should cost $1.
Always.
The price always. This is like the prediction. It's not always working, of course, as you can see, even by USDN situation. But this is the idea here, to create something that maintains the same price at all times. In case of reserve currencies, it's different. So basically, you're trying to create some assets that just have some kind of like a predictable price behavior. So you can be like kind of confident that it won't fall too much, too fast. You just can predict, the price behavior, which is nice, because you can't do that with most of traditional finance assets. Maybe with bonds, they have some kind of like predictable price behavior. But the idea is to make it like even more predictable. So, for example, Pluto project, the Vladimir's project actually, is a reserve asset project actually. So you kind of understand the price behavior of Pluto, and there is some kind of like lower price for Pluto, because if like it reaches this, like, I think it's called backed price. In this case, you can just basically redeem Pluto for treasury funds. And there is some like upside potential, because when you issue Pluto, the Pluto is being bought out of the swap pool, basically. So if you issue new Pluto, there is some kind of like by pressure, actually. That's the idea, where the issuance is equivalent to buying pressure, and it pushes the price of Pluto up slightly, not hard, actually. And there is some staking, because you can issue Pluto for LP tokens, and LP tokens actually go up in value, because there is some, as LP tokens usually do. So there is some like staking interest in Pluto. So you have some asset, you have an asset that can be staked, and it pays you passive interest in this case. It has a like predictable price behavior, because there is like a lower price limit, and there is some buy pressure. So you understand that probably even if there is some volatility, you won't lose too much money. And there is some like constant upside potential, because there is this buy pressure. So it's not a very volatile asset. It's like a little volatile, but its volatility is like smaller than the volatility of traditional assets. It's not like there is volatility, of course. So its price is not fixed, but the volatility is small and the price behavior is predictable. And you also can get some passive income for just taking the asset. So this is like a new type of assets, actually. Maybe it's similar to bonds in traditional finance, but it's more interesting, I guess, because actually bonds really fluctuate in value around some like fixed price, and they don't really go up. You know, they go up when probability of default is high. You know, so then in this case, there is more demand for bonds, because people understand that there is like more money to be made. But in this case, it's different, actually. So there is a constant buy pressure, and you understand that if there is no like systemic risks, you know, so if they don't actually show up, those systemic risks in practice, and systemic risks would be like some kind of like broken blockchain consensus or something, probably price of Pluto will go up, you know. So you hold this asset, you don't expect to make millions of dollars like in 2 days, but you have an asset that pays you interest and has a nice upside potential. So this is the idea behind reserve currencies. They're different from stable coins because there is no fixed price for them. But at the same time, they have their own advantages, predictable price behavior. Yeah, so they can't replace stable coins, because it's very important to have zero volatility, you know, to have a stable asset, some kind of like reference asset, you know, the one you can trade against, or the one you can use for payments, because it's pretty hard to use volatile assets for payments. And Bitcoin is like pretty well known around the world, but still not so many people use it to pay for things, you know, because of volatility. Exactly, it's hard, you know, because you have to go that extra mile to accept the payment as a merchant. You either have to hold the Bitcoin, you accept it, or you have to convert it immediately. You know, so it's hard. So people need to have some stable assets with a fixed price, because there has to be some kind of reference. And that's why stable assets, like the reverse reserve assets, will not replace stable coins. There still has to be some kind of like a proper stable coin that maintains its peg through algorithms, through banking, maybe through some combination of them. So, and there's going to be a lot of competition for that. And there has been a lot of competition to create a proper stable coin that will actually conquer the market. But all the fun, I think, is still ahead, because now there's going to be more attention to them, and there's going to be more players and more competition. But I think it's very important to create something that is controlled by the community, because all those backed coins, BUSD or Tether or USDC, are controlled by one entity. And it has its problems, obviously. So if we are able to create something truly decentralized, we will be able to make it more stable and more robust against attacks, you know. So, because as you can see, it's pretty easy to bring down a centralized entity, as it happened with FTX. like basically another centralized entity, like brought FTX down, so Binance. So they're not stable, and decentralization brings more stability. So to create a truly stable and a robust stable coin, we need to make it as decentralized as possible. And this is our goal, and this is what we will be working on.
Sounds great. Yeah. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the next topic. It's Waves Exchange Launchpad and the future of projects on Waves. I know that there are currently many new teams building on Waves. Some new projects going to appear. Could you tell more about your own thoughts? What do you think should be built now on Waves? Which projects would you like to have? What's missed now?
Yeah, so we are launching a new launchpad because we had some,
Light.
Let's turn the light on. It's better.
Bring the light.
So yeah, so we need to have more projects on Waves. This is very important, especially in the current market conditions, especially once we have this like some kind of like a reset moment, you know, not only for crypto in general, but maybe for Waves. Maybe it's a good moment for us to occupy some new niche and become more like visible, you know, because we deserve that, I guess, you know. So we need to have more projects on Waves. That's why we are launching a new launchpad on Waves Exchange. First projects are gonna build there around December. Stay tuned. So I think we need to have more projects, you know, so we don't have to have something like groundbreaking for now, you know. Maybe it's gonna come later. We just need to have more traction. So DeFi projects are very welcome, for example, you know, because we lack some DeFi projects. For example, we lack DeFi aggregators on Waves. We don't have them. So there is some like attempts to create them, but we don't have like a one big like aggregator such as Y-Earn on Ethereum, for example. And that would be awesome to have one. Because it's also important for us from like technical perspective, because there is a well-known concept of flash loans. And if you basically have several DeFi projects, you can basically borrow funds from one project, make it trade on another project, return their loan, and that all can be done in one transaction. You know, so it's pretty awesome. So this is why Ethereum DeFi has its issues, but sometimes it's really great, you know, because it's a very interesting thing that opens up so many new opportunities. And potentially can do it on Waves as well with our right programming language. But it's not there yet. So, and we need that because that will increase the number of transactions on Waves, because you will be able, arbitrageurs will be able to arbitrage without having any funds, because you can just borrow the funds, make a trade, return the funds, and this is all in one transaction. So you don't need to have your own capital, which is awesome. You know, it's like a revolution in finance in a way. I totally agree with that. So DeFi aggregators would be great. Y-Earn type of projects. And basically all those projects that you can see on Ethereum. I think we'll have some games launching on our launchpad. NFT games, I think they're not dead. Maybe they're kind of dead, you know, because, but they're not dead completely. You know? So I think there's going to be some kind of a new wave for them, you know, so with new ideas, with less Ponzi-nomics, because what brought them down is Ponzi-nomics. Right? Yes. If people could have like made them more sustainable, if they just hadn't wanted to make so much money so fast, you know. So, but there's going to be a new way for them, you know. So NFT market is kind of like half dead, you know, like in some kind of a zombie state right now. But it's not dead completely. So new generation of those projects is on the way, and they're very welcome on Waves. And there is a couple of projects that I know that will be launching on Waves soon. Also, any kind of project, for example, there is a musical project that's going to launch on the launchpad, as far as I know, in December. So it's great when crypto projects are trying to go into the new directions. to find new applications for crypto, and musical applications are like really interesting, you know. So because it's not only about trading, guys. We need to actually go into different directions. We need to try different things that exist in the real world. Music, I don't know, movies, AI. There can be some like AI projects, I guess, because there is going to be some marriage, I think, between this new wave of AI projects when you can generate, for example, pictures based on some kind of like a picture library. They're very famous now, and they're moving forward very fast. And I think there can be some combination of that. And we discussed that with Waves DAX guys, and I think they might integrate those things in the Waves DAX.
You mean AR thing?
No, not AR, but this like AI generation of
images.
Of images, yeah, pictures, yeah. So
looking forward.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
AI generated DAX, you mean?
Yes, that would be awesome. And it's a very natural idea. So it's like you don't have to be a genius to come up with that idea, because it's like very, very natural, you know, to combine those things. Yeah, so all projects are welcome. Of course, we are interested in something that exists on Ethereum but don't exist on Waves, maybe a little more, because we have to like fill those gaps, you know. So if we don't have like a DeFi aggregator, it would be awesome to have one. But all other projects are welcome. As you know, you have very low fees on Waves. Nice coding language. There is like an integrated decentralized exchange. There is a pretty active community. So yeah, so if you're somehow like, probably a lot of people, most people who are watching us now are familiar with Waves, but if you're not and you're a developer, please take a look. And I think it's a good moment to look into different directions, like beyond Ethereum, because the world is changing, you know. So I think there's going to be a lot of new blockchains emerging now, and there is like established and OG blockchains as Waves that won't go away anywhere, that will actually establish themselves as blockchains that are here to stay. So take a look at Waves, maybe you'll find something interesting.
Yeah, it's your ideas are, I think they make sense. And also I know the team, which is already building the yield aggregator, and they will have an MVP in December, I think. And the idea is pretty simple here. You just put USDN and it goes to the most profitable source.
Yeah.
To Virus, to Puzzleland, to base exchange pool or something. So it's so simple. I don't understand why it's not made yet.
Yeah, I don't know. So we maybe should have more developers on Waves, you know. So, and this like why earn type of project is very natural. And guys, please come to Waves, and we'll help you with all we have, you know. Because
what are your programs to stimulate developers? Like I know there is a hackathon, there is a base camp. Could you tell more about this projects? What developers can expect?
Yeah, so we are launching Waves Camp. This is some kind of a portal for developers with documentation, with new development tools such as IDEs, for example. And there's going to be some funding as well. So we will provide funding for Launchpad projects, initial seed funding. Maybe if projects need some more money, we can connect them to some like VCs maybe. If they don't, if they can do with like some kind of like moderate funding, we can come up with it on our own and help projects launch. And the Launchpad will be more decentralized, and also the community will be more involved in funding those new projects. I think we won't be doing IDO campaigns where you buy some tokens before launch, because they have some issues with legal setup. So probably we will focus our attention on so-called ILO campaigns, when you just launch a token without selling it before the launch. But we'll try to make sure that those launches are good. They are set up in such a way that if project delivers, token price goes up, community makes money, and everybody is happy. So what we can do for developers, we can provide consultancy to them, and Waves Labs and Waves Camp will be doing that and are doing that already. So you can reach out to them now, and they will help you with anything Waves related. We can provide funding. We can potentially connect you to some VCs that can maybe provide more funding for you if it's needed. And we can help you launch your token. We can make sure that Waves community and maybe some external communities know about your token, participate in token launch, start using your products. So this is what we can do for you guys. So the idea is to make sure that if you have a great idea, a good developer team, and it's a crypto project, so there is a token, your token is going to be successful and our goal is like, it's not to exactly make money with this, Waves Labs is like, it's a for-profit entity, it's like American company, and it has to make some profits eventually, but it's not so important at the moment. What is really important is traction. We need more developers in Waves, and we're ready to do anything we'll have to do to achieve that, guys. So please come to Waves, take a look at what we offer, and yeah, try to build on Waves.
Yeah, I also think that all of these opportunities are interesting for WX holders, for investors. I can say a couple of words about ILO concept, because I think Puzzle was the first to use it on Waves. Initially, we launched Puzzle like just a pool. You can buy a token called Puzzle from the pool. There are no puzzles in the world existing, so you just buy from the pool. It was a great success. The start price was 10 cents, and it went to $3 in the first day. And now it's traded at $10. So pretty successful. Yeah, so I really appreciate the solution to make ILO and not IDO. I think it's much more sustainable.
Absolutely. And yeah, I want to thank Vladimir as well, because he's doing a lot of things that are very good for Waves. He creates communities, he builds new projects, and he's a very valuable member of Waves community. And I hope all his projects will go to the moon. And he's a great guy. So take a look at Puzzle, because Puzzle is some kind of like a small DeFi empire now. You have swap functionality there, and you have lending now. You have NFTs. What else do you have?
There's three companies.
Yeah. You have also Pluto. Pluto is a project that is like reserve asset project, which is related to Puzzle as well. So it is some kind of like a small DeFi empire which grows, which is growing fast. And take a look at maybe it's just a very good opportunity for you to participate in different Puzzle projects.
Thank you, Sasha, for promotion.
always happy to promote Waves projects.
Yeah. So the idea for Puzzle currently is to build an infrastructure for everything. So you need lending, you go to Puzzle, you want to swap, like just swap a token, you go to Puzzle, and the next big update will be aggregating Waves Exchange liquidity, because with the latest update, Waves Exchange provided this functionality. Yeah. So guys, you will be able to swap through Waves Exchange using Puzzle swap interface.
Yeah, it's amazing actually, because now you can trade on chain, also on Waves Exchange. It's not so easy to do actually, but you can.
It's tricky.
It's kind of tricky. So maybe we'll make it like more accessible, but now you can do that. So it's possible now to arbitrage between Puzzle swap and Waves Exchange on chain, which is awesome, because as you know, Waves Exchange or WX.network.
Sorry.
The rebranding, because it's not an exchange anymore, because they focus on the protocol, not on some kind of like trading. It's a protocol, guys. So it's a token protocol. You can launch a token, you can trade a token, you can create a pool, so you can do whatever you want with your token. So it's a protocol, not an exchange. because you can't launch your token on Binance. Yeah, but you can on WX.network. So it's an order book protocol or order book swap, and it was impossible to basically interact with this order book on chain.
Yeah.
But now you can. So it changes a lot of things actually. It makes WX network like more similar to what happens, for example, on Ethereum, so because you can arbitrage between different pools, and we basically did that. So now we need to make sure that there are some projects that use it, and there's going to be more projects, and maybe more projects will be launched on our launchpad that uses functionality. But one of the first, obviously, will be Vladimir's project, because Vladimir has been a very active member of his community for years by now, for 5 years. Yeah.
4 years.
4 years. Yes. So Vladimir knows everything about waves. So probably
you're the fastest.
Yeah, he's going to be first, but you're very welcome as well, and you're welcome to build on top or maybe to do something different, because it's very interesting. And order book exchange, which is at the same time a DeFi exchange, like decentralized, which is a DEX. I don't think if anybody else has this. Maybe now they do, but it was the first one in 2017. Maybe there's something on Solana, I'm not sure actually. But it's still very interesting, and it's very different from what you can see on Ethereum. So yeah, so it's like a DEX which looks like sex. I mean, we see.
Yeah. Both.
Yeah, or both. So take a look at it.
Yeah, it's also a very important step. This liquidity will be used in liquidation puzzle land. So there is a flash loan when you liquidate someone at puzzle land. I hope you will not, but I mean, if there is a case, all the liquidity on base is used. So there is less slippage and less losses for a protocol. So it's a huge update. One more tech question to you. I know that gateways was probably like the main issue. As long as I know waves, it was always the issue. And recently I saw an update from the team called Pepe team that they are building gateways to waves. Could you like comment on it, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, gateways are like a plague of crypto. And I hate gateways, like hate. Like they're killing crypto here, really. Because if I'd known how much trouble we would get with those gateways, probably I wouldn't have done them. But you still need to have them, so because there is like different chains and there is no one chain to rule them all, so you need to somehow have some like interoperability between them, and you probably can't do without gateways as of now, so. But the question is how you build them. So the less centralization there, the better. They probably can't be completely decentralized at the moment, because you have like different chains that have like different cryptography, like set up differently. So it's impossible to create some kind of a 100% decentralized bridge between them. Just like it doesn't work like that, because you can't predict like which new chains you will have to connect in future, so maybe they will have totally different cryptography or totally different setup, and your decentralization of your bridges will just fail to integrate them. So they have to be somehow centralized, but the question is how, so, and Pepe team is building decentralized, properly decentralized bridges where you have like different validators for those like interchain transactions, and those bridges, hopefully, if everything goes well and Pepe team launches their product, they are supposed to replace our centralized gateways, centralized bridges that we have on WX network currently. They will have to go, because centralization is very dangerous for crypto, as we understand now, and bridges are always being hacked. They were hacked, they are being hacked, and they will be hacked. There's like nothing to be done about it, because you just store so much value in one place, and somehow people are very sloppy with coding those bridges. They don't account for all possible scenarios, and there is always some bug, and the bug can cost like hundreds of millions of dollars, so it's like crazy, so the less centralization you have, the better. And Pepe bridges should be like the first step in that direction, when you basically don't have like this ability to steal so much funds, so because it's going to be like well decentralized, so it's impossible to just break into the gateway treasury and steal the funds. And maybe there's going to be some different steps in future that will make those bridges like 100% secure. But it's a very difficult problem, and so the less gateways you have, the better. So the goal is to probably focus more on the ecosystem and to make sure that people don't have to, to transfer too much value to or from other chains. So let's try to build the bridges, decentralized bridges, but let's try at the same time develop Waves ecosystem in such a way that you don't have to leave it.
Yeah.
That you have everything that you need inside it. And bridges can be used not to leave Waves ecosystem, but to attract new users from outside. So that would be our goal.
Yeah, so just to clarify, the first step is to launch an independent bridge. Then if it goes smoothly, you're gonna integrate it into WX network.
Yes, eventually, yes.
Yeah, great. Yes, it sounds smooth, yeah. Let's answer some last questions from the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, so of course the first question is about virus. Is it going according to the last plan?
It actually is going according to the plan, but USDN depacked because of like the events, so so I think next week, if nothing bad happens again, the pack will be back and the vesting will resume. This is the plan. So we move according to the plan. We will have maybe to tweak some parameters again, because as I said, so if it hadn't for this like Alameda shit show, probably we wouldn't have so much problems this week, and people would be able to claim their USDN in this like smooth way. And the idea was to tweak the parameters during the last week to make sure that like this process of like a USDN claim is not so stressful for people, so they don't have to to participate in some kind of competition to claim their funds, because there is some limit, and if you're late, the limit is used up and you can't claim anything. And the idea was to make sure that there's some kind of balance that can at least kind of like credited to the next day, and you can claim it next day actually. But due to the situation, we actually didn't do this this week because USDN depacked. So once it's back to pack, we'll tweak the parameters, and after that, people will be able to claim USDN like in a nicer way, let's say. So as I understand, it's going to take some time, and we'll do our best to create more demand for USDN, because and people are asking me on Twitter, some trolls or some fathers, maybe some normal guys as well. So why don't you just return the funds? But guys, as I told you, and okay, I just described the situation the way it is. So we have USDN, so we don't have anything else. We have USDN, and to make it whole, we need to make sure that this USDN is either paid to you and you do whatever you want with it, or it is sold for USDT, USDC, and you get USDT or USDC. So, but there's no other way. So I don't have your money, and I have USDN. So please be patient. Please bear with us. As you understand, there is like much worse things in crypto now, and I don't know how much money is on FTX. It's in billions, and what are they going to do with it is unclear. As I said, probably someone will bail them out, I think, because they're very well connected. You can read about that like on Twitter, so they do have some connections, obviously. But it's not guaranteed, So they have like 8 billion stock on FTX, and basically, and people are asking, so how can you say that FTX are bad guys if there is some virus situation? But who initiated that situation on virus? Who was involved in this? It was like some crazy manipulation, and as you understand, so we're not traders. So and the volume, waves traded volume was like $3 billion per day. So probably there was someone behind it, because we can't create $3 billion of trading volume per day, guys. Please, because we're like, I don't trade actually. I was involved in like algorithmic trading, like before crypto, actually creating some like neural algorithms for trading. I never traded like manually, and I basically don't like it. So we're not traders, and and we don't have so much funds basically to create that kind of volume. So if you're like being reasonable and don't listen to some kind of like FUD, you would understand that, like, guys, we're trying to resolve your problems. We're not the ones who created them. And please be patient with us, bear with us, because we are trying to make sure that everybody's going to be made whole. Nobody will lose funds, and probably you will even like make some money, because there's some kind of like rewards. Now you can, smaller accounts on Virus receive payments now from a native USD staking, which is like around 5% APY, which is not bad under the circumstances. So we're trying to make sure that you don't lose money, and potentially can even make some profits, not like crazy profits, but some profits, so please bear with us. Please don't put too much pressure on us, because we are working for you guys. We are working to resolve the situation, and for us it was like a huge learning experience, and maybe we will actually become much stronger in future, and we will be prepared for bigger challenges, So if something similar comes up again, we will be prepared for it, because we were not, obviously, because nothing similar to that had happened in crypto before, because I'm in crypto. I've been in crypto since 2000, I guess, 14, like actively. And what is happening now, or what has been happening for the last 2 years, is something that I hadn't seen before. So we were kind of like not prepared. But now we are, and I think maybe we can avoid bigger problems in the future, So this is a good learning experience, and as I said today, once what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So yeah, we are moving forward, and everything's going to be okay.
That's the main insight from today.
Yeah.
I think there is a small piece that should be clarified. Initially, you mentioned that APY for USDN is expected to be 10%, but we should say that it's very volatile. And as I understand it, currently it's 5%, just because of base price falling down. So it's probable it will be even higher.
Yes.
Base price.
Yes. Yeah. So it depends on, because it's like native, where it comes from. So you understand, it's not a fake APY. It's like a real APY, because how it like comes about, basically there is like new waves that are paid to miners. So if you stake waves and you lease it to miners, there is some new waves issued for participation in consensus, for validation, and those waves are converted into USDN, like on the contract, and those USDNs are paid to you. So it's not something that we create out of thin air, more or less. This is like integrated into Waves consensus itself. So it's the basis of Waves blockchain. And the exact APY rate depends on Waves price, because you issue USDN, you issue stable coin. So basically, the higher Waves prices, the more stable coins you can issue with one wave token. And the other way around, obviously, the less the wave's price is, the less USDN you can issue. So yeah, it's volatile, but if wave's price goes up, you will be getting a higher APY. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I think it's a very important thing to clarify because people were like really fuzzing about it. Yeah. So guys, it's very probable that wasting APY will be more than 10% again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Question to me, Vlad, do you want to port Pluto and Puzzle to other blockchains? Do you have plans for expansion? Yeah. Initially, when they launched Puzzle, there was an idea to make a cross-chain aggregator, which would sound like very epic. So you do an on-chain transaction, swapping between other chains. But after we did the research, I understood that for this we need own gateways. So tokens are stored on our gateway, so we can do a swap. So I think for Puzzle, an expansion can be when there will be a team doing a decentralized exchange to that blockchain, and we make a collaboration. But at the same time, we plan to do some type of expansion by bridging Puzzle and Pluto tokens to other chains, which will be a great promotion. You can buy Puzzle or Pluto in other chain, but for example, to stake it, you need to port it back to Waves and stake it here. So it's a very interesting onboarding path. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because you can like sell Pluto on Ethereum, but to stake it, you need to go to Waves and use Waves.
Yeah, it's a very like natural idea. Yeah, so you can like attract new people. You can onboard them on Ethereum, but
yeah,
in order to really benefit from the product, they have to come to Waves. So yeah, so we need to bring more people, and if they come from other chains, I think it's good as well, because we have to promote Waves, because I think Waves deserve it. And so we have to promote it to new people, but we have to bring more people from existing chains as well, of course.
Yeah, actually we tried it with Waves DAX by listing egg token on other exchanges. Yeah, but somehow we didn't come to real promotion. So maybe there just need to be some preparations, maybe collaborations.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I remember that, and I was pretty skeptical about this attempt, and I knew that it wouldn't end well. But really, but I just want to make sure that you guys would understand it as well. But because you should do some kind of different kind of marketing for this, obviously, you know. So you have to market it, because it doesn't help you if you just launch a token on Ethereum. No, so there has to be some marketing involved, you know. So, and it worked for some projects actually. For example, remember Luna? Yeah. So as you probably know, they had their own chain. So they were not an Ethereum project, but most of the trading was on Ethereum. You know, so they were successful with it. But they had so much like VC involvement and so much marketing, which didn't end well, as you know. But you have to market it. So it's not enough just to launch a token, of course. And if you are successful on Waves, doesn't mean that you will be like doubly successful if you launch a token on Ethereum, because there has to be some specific Ethereum marketing for this. You know? Sure, this is a problem here.
And it's not enough to make a huge APY in the pool, for example. People need something bigger.
Sure.
Okay. Let's get like 2 last questions from the chat. Guys, you have a chance to bring your question. And maybe the last question from me before we ask those questions. Currently, we see that all of this VC situation is gives us a lot of lessons. So can we say that everything which is somehow affiliated with VC is bad?
Yeah, I think so. At least like regarding crypto, in relation to crypto, all VC activities are bad, I guess, you know, because for them, you know, the temptation is too big. They understand that with like maybe with a more traditional project, they have to wait for years to exit. But in crypto, it's faster. You know, they can just fund a new token and they can push it to the moon and they can sell it and forget about it and move on to the next project. As it probably, you know, so I think I don't have to, you know, to mince words. I can even call some projects. For example, there is Solana, obviously, and now there is, I guess, Aptos, and there is SIA, and they're all very similar chains, actually. They're very similar, the same idea. It's been like, reused once again. Like there's some like minor improvements, but it's more or less the same. Not shit, but like it's not shit, and they're not so bad technical actually. They're not like groundbreaking, but they're not like bad either. But it's the same idea, and those like VCs, they just move from one project to another, and those projects are similar. They're just like selling new tokens to retail, and the retail has no idea about what they're like being sold, so they can't see a difference between Solana and Aptos, for example, they are just being told that Aptos is like a revolutionary chain and stuff like that, and they can't understand because they don't have the technical expertise, so but they're like just buying this token and wait for it to go to the moon, and probably it won't, but they like somebody has made a lot of money selling those tokens to them. So it happens again and again, because VCs might do good things, but maybe not in crypto, because in crypto the temptation is just too big. It's just to launch a new shit token, shit coin, launch it to people, make some funds, like make like 10x, and move on to the next project. And they can't resist this temptation, because yes, I won't go like into too much detail, but so this is some kind of like explanation of the situation from like just like from experience, more or less, but or just from like some kind of like reasoning, some kind of thinking about why it happens. But you can see some kind of like actual project that failed because of VCs, and I don't think you can come up with any good project that was successful in crypto because of VCs actually. So just I, off top of my head, can't recall any project like that. So Bitcoin, Ethereum was really very successful, maybe because of like some VC involvement, but it was long ago. And after maybe Ethereum, yeah, because Ethereum was pushed by VCs. But after that, it just went downhill basically. And even Ethereum, I think, is having a lot of problems due to VCs, and will have even more problems. So I think crypto projects should be funded by the community, guys, because there is this opportunity, and you are able to fund any crypto project yourself without like VC involvement. And you can see, for example, token distribution. The community can make sure that the token is distributed fairly, and there is no like big holders, for example. They can make sure that there is no whales. It's possible in crypto, So if you pay attention, if you're not too greedy, and if you're not too focused on making very quick profits, I think we will, as a community, we will have a much better crypto ecosystem where everybody benefits from the value of technology, because there is a lot of value to blockchain technology, and people are focusing just on the price, and that's why you guys are suffering so much, so because somebody's always making money off of you, and it's not waste, because if someone like is like saying that we make some profits off of you, no, I personally do not care about profits, because we have so much liquidity in the world, and so many billionaires, and like I don't see any value for me personally in becoming like a billionaire, for example. It's like maybe like 50 years ago it was fun, but now I'm not so sure actually. So it would be awesome to create something sustainable and that can last for centuries. And this is a real fun, so, and that's why we actually move forward, we persevere, we don't give up, and we will never give up, and Waves is gonna live forever.
So you're saying that the true value is not money, but what? Like, what you build.
Yeah, sure. It's like what remains, what's going to be there after you. So because you can print so much money, and it's a very subjective value. You just attach some value to money, but it's not real. It's not even gold. You can attach some value to gold because gold is used in industry, but now money is just numbers, So it's all in your hand. That's it. So don't forget about that, and you can create so many new, like so much new money, by just printing them out of thin air. So guys, it's not even fun, So I think so money don't matter. It's like you don't understand that, guys, because people care about money even more than they did before. But I think money and they don't matter so much anymore as they did before, because they became unreal. They're just numbers. So basically they printed like 70% of dollars in circulation during 1 year. So it's not real, guys. It's just numbers. It's just like thin air. It's not real. So what real is the product that we are creating, something tangible, something you can, something that is gonna stay there after you are dead. So we should be more focusing on that, and only if we do something valuable, we'll be happy. Otherwise, there is no happiness in being a billionaire. So they might be happy, but they're not happy because they're billionaires. Maybe they used their money right. They have like a good family, and they're doing something valuable. That's why they're happy, not because they're billionaires. So focus on the real things and don't be like distracted by some bullshit.
What do you think will live after you? Is it like Power DAO or what? Like what are you building?
Yeah, I think it's very important to focus on two things in crypto. This is scalability, and I hope that we will have some breakthroughs with scalability, because it's very important, because without scalability, crypto will die, because you need to have billions of transactions per second, obviously. You just focus on financial transactions now, but you can have any types of transactions in crypto. It can be anything, any information, can be on blockchains, not only financial, and that would require millions of transactions per second. So without scalability, crypto is gonna die. And the second thing, which is very important, is governance, because I think crypto is more about governance. It's about like creating decentralized organizations, or just like collectives of people that are governed by new rules, where there is no like very rigid hierarchy, like you can see now, like everywhere in the world, China, Russia, even the US, where there's like very rigid hierarchy, So, and it's very bad. So it's very old school, and like societies were governed by a similar setup since like 10,000 years ago, So, and it hasn't changed. You had a king like 10,000 years ago in Babylon, and you have some kind of a Tsar now in Russia now as well, for example. So it has not changed, the same setup, So it has to change, and crypto is able to create social structures that were impossible before crypto, before blockchain, So they just provide this technological footing to those structures. And if crypto is successful, we will have a better governance, a better societies that will be more fair, more equal, and where everybody will be happy. So two things for me in terms of crypto, and probably I will be doing crypto until the rest of my life. So scalability and applications of blockchain technology to governance. So that's what I hope to actually that I will achieve something in these areas, scalability and governance.
Pretty simple. And there is a breaking news. Waves conference was just announced in the channels.
Awesome.
They are inviting us to Dubai.
Yes, we are in Dubai already, so so it's coming, guys. So if we're not gonna make it too big because maybe it's not exactly the right moment to create some crazy hype, but it's a good moment to start creating some kind of hype, which will grow slowly. That's why we are like inviting active with community members to Dubai in a week. In a week's time. It's going to be a 3 days conference here in Dubai. If you are watching us, you're obviously welcome, because if you're watching us now, probably you're an active member of this community, so you're welcome to come to Dubai. And there's going to be a lot of things about Waves, a lot of projects. All projects are going to be here. I'm gonna explain what I think about the Waves future, what projects we are going to build next year, and there's going to be some nice surprises, I guess, for you guys. Because the first thing is like people's stablecoin, but it's not over. We have a lot of ideas about PowerDAO and things that can be built on top of PowerDAO. And we will announce them in Dubai. So you are welcome. Very nice weather here, and Dubai is a very interesting city. So guys, I hope to see you all here.
Yeah, I will be there too. So come join us. And thanks for being with Waves. It's very interesting. It's getting interesting every day, I think, because we have a lot of new projects. Me personally, I'm advising 5 new projects currently that even don't have MVP yet. So it makes fun to build. Let's keep it. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, Vladimir. Thank you very much. It was a great image.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See you next week. Ride on Waves.
Ride on Waves.